Fareway values family, and we treat our employees and our customers like their family.
If you're looking for a place to shop, our service is amazing.
We have put an emphasis on hiring good people.
One of the things that we talk about is just doing the right thing.
And that is so key to this day and age.
Fareway just isn't about selling groceries. It's about taking care of people.
That, to me, is the best thing we can do at Fareway.
Hey guys, good practice today.
Man, I'm hungry.
Me too. I know just the spot. Go long. Go way longer.
Everyone knows the best route for good times and great food takes you to Whiskey River in Ankeny. Lunch, late nights, or just catching up with friends? This is your spot.
About time you guys got here. Well, you did have a head start.
In the heart of the district, Whiskey River.
Two guys, two Chris's, one network. Iowa Everywhere. It's time for Two Guys with Chris Williams and Chris Hassel. Presented by Fareway Meat and Grocery from the Channel Seed Studios. Where? Everywhere. Live and always on demand at Iowa Everywhere.
Hello. Welcome to Two Guys with Chris and Chris. My name is Chris Williams. He is Chris Hassel. We are presented, as always, by Fareway Meat and Grocery. I always like it, like a third of the way through that Fareway spot we play on YouTube. That guy gets like choked up because he loves Fareway so much.
It's the people that make it the best.
That's why I shop there, man. Better prices, and I get treated like family every time I walk into the Fareway here in Bondurant.
We don't hire assholes.
I've gotten to know the girl that checks me out every time.
Special people.
What?
Lovely
A girl
people.
checks you out?
Yeah, the checkout
Gal,
line. They bring
gal
my
across the
groceries.
street.
We hire people that will hit on you and make you feel good about yourself.
I'll tell you what, having two kids and shopping at Fareway, having
That's
them
a
take the
lifesaver.
groceries to my car.
Oh, that's a lifesaver here in town, having that Fareway. Ooh.
I just got a Fareway swag bag. I'm going to have to post that on the,
I did
the
too.
old X. Did you?
I gave Elise Fareway Frank. There's a little doll.
Yeah, I'm going to give that to Nori because it has on the tag, on the tag, it has a paw print on it, so I feel like it could be a dog toy. So that's nice you gave the dog toy to your daughter and not your puppy, Diffie.
Well, he would destroy it. I would promise. Diffie would have that thing ripped up in about 5 minutes.
You see what I brought Diffie yesterday?
Yeah, this was very fine gesture. A little John Deere green.
Well, now hang on a second because I sent Diffie a gift that I know was delivered, and I never got a thank you.
I didn't. Was that you? We didn't know who it was from. Did you send him the turtle?
The sea turtle, yeah. Come on, South Florida sea turtle.
We didn't know that was from you. There was no tag on it.
Go Turtles.
We literally,
yeah.
It's funny. We just got a box in the mail from PetSmart. Thank you, Chris. That was very kind. That was very, very generous of you.
So who had the better gift, the turtle or the John Deere?
They're both great.
Shoe toy.
You know, the girls like the turtle too because their softball team is the Turtles, right?
Turtles.
Championship.
I found someone that hates the name more than me.
Who's that?
Andy Fales.
Oh, I'm sure Fales because he's an elitist and
he says that you have a mental handicap for naming dogs.
No, Fales is just.
I said he just names them after country singers.
Fales is out of touch with most of America.
He said, "What's wrong with Hank or what are the other names for famous country singers?" Jason.
Jason. I would get canceled if I named my dog Jason. You people would cancel me.
Talking about being out of touch, Bloom kind of threw those guys under the bus for being old, didn't he?
Yeah, I was listening to the Bloom and Williams yesterday, and good podcast, by the way, but man, Bloom he just pimp slapped Murph and Andy.
Do you have a cut of that, Matt?
Yeah.
We are presented, as always, by Kelderman Manufacturing. I'm going to be down there on September 4th. Maybe you could come down for that. RVTVs in Oskaloosa. We should do Williams and Bloom from Kelderman's.
I'm in.
That day. I'm going to be down there for sure.
RVTV still kicking.
Yeah.
Good for them.
What the hell was that? Oh, wow. Well, I didn't know they were still doing RVT. Really? Wow. You know, bless their hearts. Bless
That's
their hearts
cute.
for
That's
still
really cute.
Plugging away. I can't
Bloom's
wait.
too busy pulling bags.
I can't wait until Keith hears that.
Oh, Keith,
when
it'll
he listens
really
to the
bother him.
podcast after he's back from Europe, he's gonna hate Bloom forever, no matter what.
It's gonna really, really bother Keith.
And what's gonna happen is that's gonna piss him off so much. But Keith's going to know that Bloom knows he's pissed off, so he's gonna overcorrect and be extra nice to Bloom every time he sees him.
It's like you've been around Murph for a while.
No, it was a good show, but you were extra gravelly. You're like, hey, welcome to Bloom and Williams here. You sounded like and you guys were just, you came in hot.
In my defense.
Play that first part again, Van Winks, of that. Kelderman Manufacturing.
We are presented as always by Kelderman Manufacturing.
Yeah, well, that's a producer problem.
Gravelly voice.
Aiden had us too hot, you said.
Yeah,
right?
but your voice was extra gravelly yesterday.
In my defense, I think that was like the fourth show I had done yesterday.
Oh,
like
really? So your voice had kind of shot.
Yeah, I think that may have been the case, but it is what it is. We are in the Channel Seed Studios. Speaking of country artists, we'll be up there on August the 28th, but the compound up there at the Fouch Agri Services. We're gonna have the Blackhawk concert.
I just got the invite. I'll be there.
Matt's gonna go see Blackcock.
Now you're putting extra stink on it. Sick son of a bitch.
Speaking of the Cox, I was at the Braves game and bump into a guy in a South Carolina shirt. Great conversation. Told him about my mom. We reminisced about the Cox. Ended up sitting together for a while. It was a lovely. I love the South.
Yeah,
I love people in the South, man. They are awesome. They're the best.
You feel to me like you belong in the South.
I feel like I fit in really well down there. Like
You
just
do.
the people and like it. I really, really.
I always
enjoy it.
fit in pretty well down there too. I'm surprised. Like the deep South gets shit on, especially
Yeah.
like Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama. You can find some good spots.
Yeah.
The food is incredible. The people are great.
I love like coastal South Carolina, and that's where half of my family is from. But it's an amazing little like the Myrtle Beach, Folly Beach, Edisto Beach, like right in that area. Charleston. It's really and
Charleston's
that's
great.
That's what rural Georgia reminded me of when I was traveling around there. We went around North Georgia a lot and traveled around.
North Georgia's beautiful in the mountains.
The mountains were.
Jenny
we went
Dell
to these
has
waterfalls.
a house there. We stayed there once.
Where
a couple
at?
years ago.
Which
up
town?
in the Blue Ridge Mountains. I think Blue
okay.
Ridge is the name.
Yeah,
of the
that is
town.
a town there. Yep. Cool. We went to the basin of the Appalachians and like did all the waterfall hiking and stuff one day. It was awesome. I didn't even know that like. I guess this is kind of stupid of me, but I didn't even know Georgia had that. I knew that there were some mountainous regions, but I didn't realize the geography of it until we were actually in
North
there.
Georgia, brother.
Yeah, really cool stuff. We have a lot to get to. One of the busiest rundowns we've had in a long time. Before we do that, I want to wish a very happy birthday to Elise, my little 5-year-old girl.
She's 5 today.
Turns 5 today. Yeah, she still likes you. You still have a chance with her. Cameron heard you shitting all over her dog's name, and she's going to hear it here for a second time. Now Andy Fales is going to be on her shit
It's a
list.
good thing Murph and Andy no longer exists because she would
Yeah.
hear it on that show too.
Well, she didn't listen to. She would say like Bloom did. That's still a thing. I'm just kidding. She loves Keith, but Andy's going to be on her shit list after today.
At least knows I'm a character.
She loves you.
Oh, hi. Oh, little girl. How you doing?
She's like, Dad, why is he talking to me like I'm a baby? Just let him do it. He doesn't know any better. I thought this was interesting. Kirby Smart, and God bless Kirby Smart for actually saying something. Because most of these coaches, they don't really say anything when they do these fall camp interviews.
Oh, man. I was sifting through some of the interviews from Iowa coaches. Jesus Christ.
Well, Campbell's not, my guy's not much.
I know.
better,
He doesn't even have really a media availability for that because they don't have an open practice. So
he had one this week, and we learned about a wide receiver who's out for the season. Got a few nuggets from that, but point is, most of these coaches, unless you're Dion fighting with media members, they don't say much this time of year. And frankly, if I were in a football program, I would understand it. Being a member of the media, I hate it. If I was a fan, I would want more, but I understand it from all sides. Kirby Smart, this is real rich coming from Georgia. I want to read these quotes to you because I think there's a bigger conversation we could have here, and I think it's a
Where did
positive.
you find this?
On3. This is a story from On3 national website. Kirby Smart says after practice yesterday, I feel like we have less depth than we've ever had. That's kind of a common theme talking to other coaches. I call it the deterioration of football because every year we've been here, I feel like we've had more players coming or capable of going in and playing winning football. Every year that goes down. We've got to keep working to increase that number. Another quote, it's a trickle-up effect. So we get the guys coming from the high school level. We have the same number of players, so you can't blame the transfer portal for that. I think you lose some continuity in terms of guys who have been through the program multiple years, though. We have less guys that know and execute our system. We're not even really considered a portal team. I don't know how many we've averaged over the last 4 years. I can't imagine it's double digits. We don't have many guys coming from that. It's not as much quality depth that I'm used to, but we will probably have more than a lot of people. And this is, I bring this up because I do think that it is, I think that this is an Iowa State conversation too. I think you could make an argument that the developmental programs, this is one spot, Chris, where they actually have an edge. Where they're
Is this not a good thing? I mean, not a good thing for the Blue Bloods, but the years where Georgia and Ohio State and Alabama and all these teams have these 5-star players that are just sitting buried on the depth chart because they have so many other more senior 5-star players. Those days, I'm not saying they're over, but at least those players have a chance to go somewhere else and play right away.
I think this has been one of the great things about the current NIL landscape in the portal is, I mean, look at all these transfers who have won Heisman trophies. You know, like that's just one example, but
true.
Like, well, use Iowa State, for example. I think they're more extreme than Iowa. They lost like 10 guys who transferred away, and all of them transferred down. Okay, none of them were lateral transfers. None of them went up. But that makes like the FCS programs better, right? Because they're getting some guys with Big 12 experience who are transferring down. And you're seeing this now, and this argument I've always made since all the fear mongers were going to tell us college football was going to end because the players were going to get some dough. These guys still want to play. Like they only have 5 years to do this. You have 5 years to get tape for the NFL, and all of these guys, I promise you, they think they're going to the NFL when they start doing this. And this is allowed, when he calls it the deterioration of depth, I call it a little bit of parity, right? Because these rosters are more spread out.
100%.
Now, where the problem I have is I worry about with the salary cap and all that stuff, is this going to go away? Because now a lot of these players are going to be under, I'm assuming, like a contract, like with these schools, right? Like you're here for 2 years or whatever it's going to end up like. We don't really know.
Well, we know the roster shape is going to change because you can go from 85 to 105 scholarships. But
and that's why I think that if we're going to have 105 scholarships, then the portal has to be a thing. So I don't want Georgia to be able to stockpile 105 guys.
And sign them to a contract and they can't go anywhere. Yeah, that wouldn't be good. That wouldn't be good for...
And for the sake of the player, right? Like, if I'm one of these lawyers who are working for the players, I mean, I'm fighting for them to have mobility. If you get buried in this depth chart and you just don't like it there, you go to Athens and it's like, hey, he's a really good coach and we just won a national championship, but I'm just not happy here. My grandma got cancer and I want to be closer to home and I'm not playing. Like,
but at the same time, don't you have to put some kind of a cap on the number of times you can transfer?
Probably, yeah. I there's got to be some sort of parameter with that, I would think. But I'm just, for the overall health of the sport, what Kirby Smart is saying, in my opinion, is a good thing. You want upsets to be able to happen. Like, I want Georgia, if they lose 4 starters
Yes.
in November to struggle. Like, I don't want them to just be able to, we're just going to put these guys
How about
in
the
and
year
kill.
Ohio State kept losing their starting quarterback every week, and then they just kept getting better, and they won the national championship.
Right? Like, do you see where I'm saying here? Like, I want it. This is like, I don't know, this terrible example. Most of you won't get it, but like in NASCAR, like I want like the tires to wear out because it makes it harder for the driver. It makes it more entertaining. These football factories, like I don't want 105 dudes that are just that much better than the opposition and have six teams that can
in Kirby
win.
Smart's case, and in a lot of football coaches' case, they want 130 players on the team, and they want 100 of them to be 4 stars and above. And we'll see with the new roster limitations, because even though the scholarships are going up to 105, the roster number has to be capped at 105. And from what I've been hearing from, I was listening to Chad Leistico's Hawk Central podcast. He had Tyler Barnes on, who kind of runs that whole thing over there at Iowa. He says that he's hearing that most people are not going to, most programs at this point, he doesn't think are going to go to 105 scholarships. They're not going to fill that thing out. Now, there's a number of ways you can do it. You can go to 95 and then have 5. The walk-ons are kind of the issue, because that's like an Iowa program. That's kind of the way they've built things over the years. Is you bring on these walk-ons, and eventually they become real contributors. Do you want to give out 105 scholarships? And you have to pay for that as well. That's not free.
And then you have to add women's scholarships too.
Yes, if you add those 20 scholarships on the football team, you also have to make up for that in adding 20 scholarships on the women's side.
Or cutting men's scholarships from somewhere else.
Unfortunately, yes.
That's just the way this is going to be set up. I found that fascinating because I'm all for it. Again, I don't think many people who are watching us on YouTube or listening are going to really care too much about what Kirby Smart's.
That's a big thing, Deb. That's why these great programs are as great as they are, because they have been able to stash this great talent on the 3 deep, sometimes 4 positions deep. And so they aren't hurt as much by attrition, by injury. Why is it that these FCS teams usually don't beat even bad FBS teams? It's because they don't have the number of scholarships. I mean, they don't have the depth.
Especially the way the SEC does it too, when they're playing them in November and they have injuries.
God, yeah.
It's brilliant, really, because those FCS teams, when you do it like Iowa State does it, and Iowa's done it before, and they've had some scares. These FCS teams, they circle it, and they're fresh because they haven't played any games, and then they can come out and potentially bite you if you're. Regardless, I thought that was a positive, and I hope that they can find a way to keep that. But I also think that's probably a reason why the SEC and the Big Ten were pushing so hard to raise the number of scholarships, because they know that's an advantage for them. And they've probably seen the last few years with the portal that, sure, you can, if you're Georgia, you can go off, or Oregon's a great example. You can just go and snag Dylan Gabriel from Oklahoma, right? Like you can do a lot of these things, but you're still losing a bunch of guys who probably aren't good enough to start at Georgia, but they're definitely good enough to be depth pieces if you need them, who will go to an Iowa and start. And this is why I've been saying, Chris, they should have, but they don't care about the health of the sport. That's the problem. None of these people care about this. I wanted them to take the 85 scholarships and take it down to 70, because that would make every level of football stronger.
It would.
Right?
Absolutely.
Like these
yeah.
Big 12, ACC, American.
But they're not interested in that. As you said, they're interested
they don't care.
In their own backyard, their program, and their conference. That's it.
And it would have made like the entire college sports ecosystem stronger, the financially, and then you could have added more scholarships elsewhere around campus. You could have, a lot of these Title IX implications that lost, like men's sports, like there's men that you could have added some more, but nobody's interested in that. Nobody's going to be adding anything in the future. But I don't know. Kirby's smart there. That was from On3 from his press conference yesterday. Hey, this is great. Both of our quarterbacks, Rocco Beck and Cade McNamara, on the Johnny Unitas Golden Arm watch list. Preseason the prestigious group of 63 quarterbacks. Both of our guys made the cut. This is fantastic. Congrats to those young men.
I cannot stand the preseason and midseason and late season watch lists.
Look at that list.
Like, come on. What are we doing here? You putting 60 plus quarterbacks on this list?
How much do you have to suck to not make that list?
Well, and it's only, I believe, isn't it only supposed to be upperclassmen for this award? What year is Rocco Beck? Is he a junior now?
He's a sophomore. He's a redshirt sophomore.
But is it his third year? Yeah, it's his third year. So I think technically he's an upperclassman. But, like, if you're a freshman, if you're a true freshman or a true sophomore, you can't be on this list. So
Petrus got snubbed.
No, Petrus not on it?
Are FCS guys eligible?
Well, Petrus is
Could
Utah
our guy
State.
Deacon?
Yeah, Deacon. No, I don't think FCS guys are eligible.
Where's Padilla at now?
That's a good question. Let me look that up.
Because you put this Iowa quarterback controversy list together. This is crazy. I forgot that Padilla was even a thing.
He's at SMU.
Really? Padilla's he's in the ACC.
Yeah, as of 2023, he had he completed 5 of 7 passes.
And they weren't in the ACC last year.
Good for Padilla.
Is he on the roster this year? Because wasn't he a senior last year? I don't know. It doesn't matter. He's not going to play.
He probably had a COVID year in 2020, so he's probably got one more year.
Yeah, these watch lists, I'm to the point where I just delete the email. I don't even open them. Like,
I can't stand it. Like, when I'm calling games, it'll
so
be
bad.
October, and these sports information directors will just fill the game notes with these. David Klangerschmidt is on the Remenstein watch list for the best interior lineman in college football. Like,
you have an uncanny ability to make up weird names on the fly. It's impressive. It really is. It's very impressive. David Klangerschmidt
on the Remenstein.
So, real quick on Iowa State, because we did have some news.
Did we? On what, Clonado?
Oh, well, we can get to that. If you guys want to talk about that, was a big deal. The Daniel Jackson, who I think he would have been their third wide receiver, is out for the year. Matt Campbell announced yesterday. The bad news is you just lost a really nice player. The good news is it's probably their deepest position. Like, I don't think this is going to impact them all that much, but you just, obviously you don't want that happening in August. He's a guy who is going to be a senior this year who I just think that when you're beside Jalen Knoll, Ben Bramer, and Jaden Higgins, somebody's going to be open.
You got an opportunity there, yeah.
Yeah, they've got guys who are capable. They have the North Dakota State transfer. They've got the Army transfer. They've got Benny Ngoyi, who caught a touchdown pass in the bowl game last year, who are very capable. But yeah, you don't ever want to start losing dudes in August. At the moral of the story. So that was news out of Iowa State camp yesterday. Actually, that would have been on Tuesday. And then Iowa, it has been interesting to hear all of you guys and your opinions on this quarterback situation, because you have the classic like total homers that are, McNamara's fine, which again, like he might be, but my whole thing is I just don't understand why anybody could be like overly confident in him. That's my whole deal. It's like maybe Cade comes out there and has this great year and great for him. I just I don't know how anybody could just be blindly confident that one, he's going to stay healthy, and two, that this is going to work. But two, now you have there's this bucket of people who are pushing for Sullivan, and we really haven't seen him play. It's interesting because you just don't see this at Iowa very often because Kirk is usually so locked into one guy.
And Van Winks has a video of Sullivan here from Blake Hornstein. And look, he was better than Cade McNamara, but he wasn't great. He wasn't. I would say he wasn't even good. He was okay, better than McNamara. But this was, again, one practice that we saw, one scrimmage that we saw. We know from David Eicholt this week has reported that he's heard that Cade McNamara is having his best week of practice of camp, and that Monday was his best day. Now, best, what does that mean? I mean, if what we saw on Saturday was basically what we had seen all camp so far from him, like Kirk Ferentz said, then that's not a very high bar. But I would be stunned if McNamara is not the week 1 starter. I just don't. I know there's people that say this is a real quarterback battle, and if Sullivan is the better quarterback in camp, he's going to be the starter. I don't necessarily buy that. I think Sullivan would have to be like way better than McNamara to unseat him in week 1. Now, I could see it happening down the road, but week 1, I don't. And I thought that there was an interesting take from Scott Docterman on the latest Legends and Listeners, where Chad Leistico posed a question, should they split reps week 1 and kind of just see how that goes? You're playing Illinois State. You're a 4-touchdown favorite. You shouldn't have a problem with them. Let's get this figured out before Iowa State the following week. And Docterman just basically said that I think that would be a terrible idea. He thinks that Cade's psyche is not at a place where he could handle that. And that's alarming to me.
I've gotten that vibe from him, and I don't know.
I have too. Yeah. I have too, because when Sullivan came in, McNamara, there's a way to be confident in your remarks and not put down someone else. I thought, he was so dismissive, it was disrespectful, honestly, of Iowa bringing in Brendan Sullivan. And in his mind, he doesn't believe that there's any way that he should not be the starter. And maybe Kirk Ferentz is telling him things that make him believe that. But Docterman said he doesn't want to see that because, things could go haywire and it could end up backfiring on Iowa if they do that. And let's just say Cade's bad and Sullivan's bad. Then what do you do?
I hate the line that Brant used here in our comments when he said if you have 2 quarterbacks, you have no quarterbacks. I think that's the biggest pile of crap. I hate it when football people say that. I just think it's a dumb cliche.
Well, all you have to do is go back to last year.
Yeah,
and when you have no quarterbacks, you have no quarterbacks.
Yeah,
when Deacon Hill is your quarterback, you have no quarterbacks.
Iowa's in a significantly better spot with a real backup who could push to be a starter than they were a year ago. It's not. I don't understand it when people say it. I don't know who started that. I know it was some crusty old coach a long time ago. I don't believe it. I don't think it's true. And you'll hear that.
Just look at Texas. They've got Quinn Ewers and Arch Manning.
Yeah. Oh, it sucks to be Texas. Right? What do you want to do? Cut one of them so the other one? No. We're here to win games. You're not here to coddle this is what did the old Gary Barnett say? This ain't intramurals. Or whoever the hell that was, the old Colorado coach.
Van Winks chimes in on the private chat. Tua and Jalen Hurts. Remember? Jalen Hurts was the quarterback.
Well, you mentioned the Ohio State
example. He gets knocked out.
Yeah,
he gets knocked out. Tua comes in, wins them the national championship. Now, there's nobody like that on this Iowa roster this year, but it is better to have – look, the alternative is Cade McNamara and Marco Lainez. And we know what Kirk Ferentz thinks of Marco Lainez. He wouldn't even play the guy last year with Deacon Hill.
Poor Marco.
So –
again, though, he'll be one of those transfers probably that drops down like we were talking about, and he's going to make a MAC team better or whatever. That's why we got to have these guys be able to move around for the health of the sport, in my opinion. Iowa shouldn't be able to just stockpile. Well, it's kind of a dumb example with Iowa and quarterbacks, but you know what I mean. These guys should be able to do – Marco Lainez, if he doesn't get any run this year, should be able to leave. Sorry. I'm off topic.
Yeah, I mean,
that's
if he
an
doesn't
important thing to me. Like
even he's number 3 this season
we
again.
can't just lock these kids in for
No.
4 years and say like you're stuck. And I don't know.
Here's
I
where
could be
my
wrong.
mind went, Williams, though, with the McNamara discussion and Scott Docterman saying he doesn't think that it would be good for his mind. He doesn't think he could handle it. If Kirk Ferentz were to make that decision to go to Brendan Sullivan, does McNamara have the ability to leave and go play somewhere else, apply for a medical red shirt, and get another year of eligibility, and then Iowa is stuck without McNamara?
I don't know. I think. I've thought about that with Iowa State, though. Like, their quarterback room, have you looked at their quarterback room overall? And this kid that they have coming in next year?
Yeah, I'm jealous.
This
but
kid
they
that they
wouldn't
have,
be the same at Iowa, though. It's totally
I know,
different.
but like there's no way all those 4 guys stay at Iowa State.
Right.
It's impossible in 2024. I'm not, but like JJ Cole, he could be playing at Michigan right now, but he's stuck behind the guy who went in there and became the Big 12.
I am a little
offensive
surprised that Cole
freshman of the year.
stayed this offseason.
Yeah, I mean, but now you have Moberly. I heard he had a 30-yard touchdown run in their scrimmage the other day. And then, this kid who was an Elite 11 guy coming in, Mansky, it's a weird – but, yeah, like these guys, like they got to be able to, just for the sake – they only have 5 years, like if they get beat out, like I think they should be able to just move on and whatever. And we all have guys like that. I'm way off topic on that. I'm just very passionate about that. I think I will wrap up my mind on this. I think that, I mean, they know more than we do. I'm not trying to, but from what I have seen, this is a guy who is incredibly injury prone, who was just kind of average at the end of his Michigan tenure. Now the guy who beat him out goes on to become a top 5 pick, and we'll get to him later, in JJ McCarthy. Like, I don't know why any Iowa fan is blindly confident that Cade McNamara is just better than this Sullivan right now. Maybe he will be. I don't. I'm just going off what I've seen in an Iowa uniform. I was with my family from Pittsburgh last night. All their kids, they're huge Penn State fans, and they went to that game last year because they're from Iowa.
Mm-hmm.
They got one first down in that game. McNamara was playing. Injury-plagued Iowa team. They'd had it, but still, it doesn't matter. You got one first down. I'm thinking about that game, and I'm just like, God, like, I don't know. I would split the reps. Both of these guys,
absolutely,
I would split the reps. Both
50-50.
of these guys, they've both played a lot.
Wait,
of football.
are you saying in practice or week 1?
I'm saying in practice right
Yes.
now, and then you make a decision.
I agree, and I don't think that's happening.
I would. Because what are the chances that McNamara is healthy all year? Like, this guy's gonna need reps, and the good thing is Sullivan supposedly, what we've been told, knows this Lester system. He knows all the motions.
Well, he's only been there for a couple of months. Cade's been there. I mean, I know he had to learn a new offense, but
Doc was saying that he thinks Cade would be looking over his shoulder, and it could impact him psychologically if Sullivan's getting some reps. Is that accurate?
Yeah, but it's more than looking over your shoulder. If
it's looking to the side.
If Sullivan is getting in the game and you're sitting on the sidelines to give reps to this other guy and you're in a real battle, yeah, he thinks that he's not in a place where he can handle that because he came here and got paid a lot of money to be the guy, almost the savior of the offense. And he's not that, and he's not going to be that. What we're looking at here is getting to number 99. Who can get us to number 99? Brennan Sullivan or Cade McNamara? As Docterman puts it, who can make the makeables? Sullivan looks like that guy.
I think Sullivan's better.
Cade does not appear to be that guy. You've got to be able to be accurate. You've got to be able to make the passes that are given to you. Because when you look at the video from 24/7 Sports and Blake Hornstein and everybody that was shooting it on Saturday in the scrimmage, time and time again, Iowa had 3rd and shorts. They weren't really going down the field. They were trying to make the makeables, and Cade McNamara couldn't make them. He couldn't even come close to making them. Brendan Sullivan, not great, but still better than McNamara. And I know the excuse that would be coming from Kirk Ferentz if he does end up going with McNamara, even though McNamara looks worse than Sullivan in camp. Well, you know, Cade's doing this against the ones. He's doing this against one of the best defenses in the country, and I've heard this from some fans.
And that is true. There's
Sullivan's going up against the twos,
there's
the threes.
to that, yeah.
But take that, split the reps.
Split the reps, exactly. Like, and then let
Let's
the other guy.
see.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't agree more.
Because at the very least,
These
Sullivan's going to be your
freshmen.
starter next season.
This isn't a deal where it's like, oh, we're going to, Marco Linez is our guy, and he really needs the reps. This guy hasn't got, from what I understood, I've been told from some people in Iowa that, like, last year, like, those guys weren't getting the reps. Like, they were 100% positive that Deacon Hill was the best option at that time, and he was getting the reps. But my point is that both of these guys have played Big Ten football. They've seen, live action. Split the reps. I don't.
Brendan Sullivan has seen more action than Cade McNamara has the last 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, McNamara really hasn't played much. He's very rusty. Like, and that's another thing to be fair with. I mean, he is probably very rusty right now.
And that's an argument that Kirk Ferentz and the offensive staff can use as to why he's getting the majority of the 1 reps. Well, maybe they still think he's trying to knock off that rust. Maybe they think if he gets more reps that he can get through this mental block of his. I mean, clearly there was something mental going on in that scrimmage because he just did not look like he had any confidence in a throw. He looked like he had more confidence running, scrambling on that knee than he did throwing the football.
He's still a Johnny Unitas Golden Arm candidate. We are presented, as always, by Fareway Meat and Grocery. We are in the Channel Seed Studios. I want to give a shout-out to our partners over at the Iowa Event Center. Maddie does the show with our guy Adam Flack, the All Access show. I know we got the, what do we got? Luke Bryan coming up here
next
this
Friday.
Month. So, funny story about this with the dog. We're naming the dog, and we had talked about Luke after Luke Combs.
Oh, Combs.
Because we really like him in our family. Cammie and I love Luke Combs. And she's just like, Dad, too many people are going to think it's after Luke Bryan. We can't do that.
Yeah.
He's a
Good
douche
point.
country artist.
Luke.
No, but that Luke Bryan show, he does put on a good concert, Maddie. I know we got that
that's
coming
Saturday, August 24th, not Friday. Saturday, August 24th. Tickets still available, HyVeeTix.com. The other thing, Chris, you might want to get on this before Elise's birthday party tonight. Get some Disney on Ice tickets.
Oh, yay! Mickey's search party. All right. Yeah.
November 28th.
You took my kids last year because I was with the Cyclones, and
Yeah.
Maddie took my kids last year to this.
That's right.
The kids love it. I mean, they love the Disney on Ice. Lock it in. November the 28th through there's 2 things, the Disney on Ice and the monster trucks that the kids love at Iowa Event Center.
Oh, yeah, Monster Jam, baby.
We also are presented by them Dadgum Kabursky Brothers.
Them dadgum Kaburskis.
Kabursky Brothers lawn care, landscaping, snow removal. I know they got somebody from our show was watching this week, Chris, and hired them to do their landscaping. Those Kabursky Brothers.
Well, they should.
Yeah, and they did a great job with my yard. I have not been able to mow yet because, Matt, you can back me on this. It's been raining nonstop in Iowa.
Yeah, the Iowa Cubs can't even play their games at home right now because it's been so wet.
It's been brutal. So I got back from Georgia, and the lawn, and I'm like, I need them damn gun Kaburskis to come over and cut my grass because it is so long. But I have not been able to mow it because it's so long, and it won't stop raining here in the state of Iowa. Kabursky Brothers Lawn Care, they are officially approved here. By me at least, because they did a great job in my backyard. I'll show you some pictures once I can manicure that bad boy just a little bit. Matt Campbell breaks the internet.
You're fine. I thought we were going to lead with this.
Matt Campbell breaks the internet where he wears the old. That's the Brett Meyer logo, and that's the Meyer to Blythe logo in my mind.
Is that the best picture we can get? This is like the Zabruder photo. Like you can hardly even. There we go. Can you zoom in on that sucker?
I got a better one. Hang on.
Do you? I mean, you're the photo guy. I figured you were in there taking glamour shots of it, Matt. The
Matt
people want to know.
Photog. He's a hell of a photog.
Matt
would have taken a much better photo than that, I promise you.
Is it a special black Clonado instead of the blue? Is it black?
Well, I can tell you that I thought it would be odd that Matt Campbell would show up with anything blue on it when I saw it, but I do think it's navy.
You do? Because some were wondering if it was a Specialized. Now, Van Wink says he's got some inside info on this. What's going on?
What's the information, Matt?
Okay, so
breaking news.
So my sources, so
you are locked in. You're on campus at Iowa State every day.
Yes.
You're locked in.
Yeah. We, with my day job, we have a partnership with the bookstore, so I know a little bit about this logo specifically. So this logo, the rights to this specific Clonado logo were purchased by Champion, the clothing company Champion.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yes. So I believe it was 2021 or around that time frame. So Champion is the only one currently that can produce retail clothing with the Clonado. Now, Nike, obviously Iowa State is a Nike school.
So how does he have that on a Nike?
So my guess is this was something that was printed on there in the 2018, 2019, maybe early in Campbell's tenure when, because look at what it says. It says Iowa State equipment. It's not Iowa State.
Oh, that says equipment.
Yes,
I think the rule, and if Andrew Downs was watching, he would know this because he's in the merchandise business.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's certain rules with like merchandise where you can so when I buy polos for Cyclone Fanatic or IO Everywhere, we can basically have any brand we want if we're just giving it to people in our company.
Mm-hmm.
Once you start selling it, that's when rules kick in.
Correct. And also, so look closely at look at the Iowa State hat on him. It doesn't have the little trademark logo on it.
Mm-hmm.
So athletics doesn't have to use any of that. Like if you look at Iowa State's football uniforms, you're not going to see any
Shipley says it's black, not blue.
Okay, it could be.
I don't know. It looks black to me.
Matt's a stylish guy. I don't think he'd wear the black hat with blue.
I don't either.
It looks a little bit faded. Like look at the side. Just look at side. It doesn't look red.
So can you? You're saying Champion owns the rights to the old Cynado.
Isn't that weird?
Can Iowa State, if they wanted to, make and just switch up something a little bit, where you maybe just take out the Cyclones on the bottom, where it says equipment on his thing?
So my understanding is I do think, I don't know this for sure, but I think athletics has a little bit more freedom to use that on their internal stuff, I'm not sure. I don't think Iowa State can go out and just wear that logo, though, on their uniforms right
Isn't
now.
this it's such a weird deal to me that I can't get over the fact that Champion owns this logo. That would be like LA Gear owns the right to produce. It's such a weird... I didn't know Champion was still kicking.
So I'm wearing one right now. It's like the vintage. What do they call it? They call it the Spirit Collection. It's the Spirit Collection.
Yeah, hold that up again because it's the Cynado, but it doesn't have the Iowa State Cyclones font over the top of it. We were talking with an Iowa State coach yesterday, Williams, who says that's the one he wants. There's
variations of
that one.
There used to be one that had where it says on Campbell's where it says Iowa State, it says ISU, just like big block letters. So.
I don't know. I just know Campbell well enough that he thinks through everything. I don't think he just randomly. I'm not saying I think they're going to pull out a uniform or anything because I don't. I think they've shown us all the uniforms, but he doesn't just randomly wear that up on there. They knew what that would do.
I think
this fires people up. Look at Brant. I mean, look at Brant in the comments. He says, logo discourse is so stupid. All these grown men talking about logos like third graders. And then you have somebody else earlier who said it was basically going to change his life. James says, replacing I-State with Cynado permanently would make me just as happy as making the Big 12 championship. Not joking 1%. And I'm more with James here because... branding is really important.
Damn
really
right
important.
It is. Hell yeah, it is.
And the I-State brand is shit. That is a horrible logo. One of the worst in sports. It's not recognizable. And the majority of fans would be a lot happier and would love to go back to what you had in the past, or maybe you could try to make something from the past also a little bit modern. Let's get with the times here. Look, I'm not putting an iState logo helmet behind me, but I have an Ames logo helmet behind me because that's cool.
And I would also make the point too, and I think your Tiger Hawk is one of the great logos in sports because it doesn't
absolutely.
need like a
It's
word or a
recognizable.
letter. It's unique to you. And the side, like I've been saying for years that I just think they need to lean into the tornado sirens, like everything tornado. You know, like it's unique. Like
Well, and
like
it
Josh
fits
Pate
with
said,
it fits with Iowa too.
yeah, and like what Josh Pate said when he came on here with you, like when he was, it's unique. Like nobody. It's like I hope I've been pushing this for a long time. Like I want them to play that goddamn siren constantly in that stadium. Like how annoying would that be to the other? And it's only, this is not the Wildcat like that, like 15 schools across the country do. Oh, that's another Cyclone. First down. Like no, you have a freaking siren, a tornado siren playing constantly. I think it's so cool.
Here's what we know, Williams. If there's one guy that can get Jamie Pollard to change something, it's Matt Campbell.
Well, Jamie's on the record. He told Murph and Andy on one of their last shows, I want to say, that he's not going to make a logo change as long as he's the AD.
Yes, but if there's one guy that can get Jamie Pollard
change the school
to
colors
change
to
his
black,
stance, it's Matt Campbell. If Matt Campbell wants that on a uniform, wants anything on a uniform, Pollard is going to say, okay.
Every time you say Pollard, I think of your Marty Terrell impression. Jamie Pollard.
Jamie Pollard. Like he has 2 D's in his last name. Jamie Pollard.
I could talk about this more, but we don't have time. I want to thank our friends at Game Day Men's Health. Can you tell I'm down 20 pounds now? Can you tell?
Williams, you've been telling us that you're down 20 pounds.
I know I can't kick
for
it, though.
20 weeks.
For real, I'm like stuck at 20, but I'm lifting a lot more and like but my point is it's not about that, it's about how good you feel. And my friends at Game Day Men's Health have made me feel very, very good. And once Hassel's done being a little biatch, he'll go in and get his testosterone. You have no T. Like we did the testing. You have 0 testosterone. Do you have that, Matt? Can we play that when Hassel went into Game Day Men's Health?
You have 0 T.
Man.
Mr. Hassel, you have 0 T.
That's a great drop.
That's
Just
a new
play
audio
that from
drop.
now. Every time Hassel says something douchey,
Mr.
we just
Hassel,
play that.
You have 0 T.
It's weird.
Mr. Hassel,
So that when you play that, it doesn't come through my headphones. It comes through my computer.
Well,
when you
got
play that audio
all
drop.
sorts of jacked up. Game Day Men's Health in Ankeny, West Des Moines, and North Liberty. They had a car, like a random person's car. Nobody got hurt, thank God. Drive through the entrance. Somebody who needed a tee shot
It
so
didn't
bad.
just drive through. He barreled through,
Oh
or
my
she.
God.
Barreled through that entrance. Lysico posted it, but then somebody started shaming him about, well, you can see the license plate number, and shamed him into taking it down.
So tired of people just shitting on it. Like this guy Brant in our comments. I'm kidding, Brant. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching. We can take it. We're big boys. We can handle it. The other thing we want to do is I just want to tell people all the different ways they can access the show. And we are going to have some new show announcements coming up. I've got our new Big 12 show pretty much lined up that will go opposite of Legends and Listeners. I should have that announcement made hopefully by the end of the week. Just all of our new stuff. Ben Bruns is coming back for Cyclone Sunday this year. You can watch these on YouTube if you prefer to watch. I think that's the best place, but I know a ton of people watch the show on Twitter. You can also watch it on Facebook. Anywhere Iowa Everywhere is at. You can go to mine Hassel's feeds as well. We will be going live on TikTok, live on Instagram.
Our TikTok page is
right now.
exploding, by the way.
Yeah, Aiden's doing a great job with those videos. He's doing a really good job cutting those things up, and you two have worked with him a lot on that. Thank you for that. But you can, and it also helps if you really like our show. Don't go give us a 1-star. Don't be a jerk just because you're a Cyclone fan. And, oh, they talk too much Hawkeyes. Don't be that guy.
we have 207.
That's gonna definitely bring a 1-star. They talk too much Hawkeyes.
I hate it when they just let us.
They talk too much Hawkeyes.
So we have 275 people watching on YouTube. If every one of those people could just like this right now as you're watching this,
it helps the algorithm is what we're asking you to do. It's we're trying to manipulate Google here, but no,
and
we'd
subscribe
we
to our
appreciate
YouTube too.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks, Maddie. Couple of, we have to hit on this. I told you that all these idiot Vikings fans.
Wow, the prophecy from you was
all of these morons who were texting me on Saturday. But, oh, my God, Chris, did you see JJ McCarthy? He is unbelievable. He is a mixture of Fran Tarkenton and Patrick Mahomes. God damn. And I kept telling these people, one, listen, this is the Raiders aren't even playing their starters. Two, I'm really glad he looks good. I think that Kevin O'Connell's a really good offensive coach. He's got great weapons around him. I think this is a great spot for a young quarterback to mature and be a very advantageous spot to win. This is a little bit like I'd rather get drafted by Mahomes and Andy Reid at 11 than number 1 to the Browns, right? It's one of those situations. But I told you to not get over your skis and just calm the fuck down because this isn't going to end well. And it may take 3 years. It's not going to end well. And sure enough, he's out for the season.
Well, I don't know how it's going to end, but it didn't start well.
At the end of the day, it's not that big of a deal, in my mind, because I wanted Darnold to be the guy and just for McCarthy to sit back and learn. The problem is, at the end of the year, if the Vikings are 2-11, you can't just throw McCarthy out to start getting reps. That's the issue with this that I don't necessarily like. But I was all about, I'm punting on this year for the Vikings, rebuilding year, get the mojo going, have a decent draft pick, and then next year you try and get to a Super Bowl. However, I don't, which they probably weren't going to do anyways. But that's how I would look at this. And it's just Hassel. When I saw that he went down, and I saw McCarthy or O'Connell's reaction, I'm like, he's out for the year. The way that they're talking, this is not good. This is not good. It's always worse than they're going to tell you in the media. So then Jordan Addison goes down. It sounds like that one's not going to be bad. But they lost their starting corner, their first draft pick quarterback, their first round draft pick from last year, and then a backup wide receiver all within a week. Unbelievable.
One of their draft picks died.
And the other guy died. Their third round draft pick died. I'm not making light of that. It's
terrible.
It's just been the worst offseason ever.
Can I ask you a question about fandom and which one is worse?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because we're kind of
I'm a professional in this.
Polar opposite fans. I'm an Iowa fan. You're an Iowa State fan. I'm a Bears fan. You're a Vikings fan. What's worse, being a Hawkeye and Bears fan with the year in and year out struggle to have a quarterback with a pulse, or Cyclone and Vikings fan, where you've never won anything big in your entire existence?
I have it way worse than you do.
Because I could argue either side. You, in your lifetime as a Vikings fan, have had a lot more successes than I've had as a Bears fan. I mean, you've had one of the greatest offenses of all time with Randall Cunningham and Randy Moss.
Yeah, Gary Anderson.
And then, yes, Gary Anderson misses a field goal where you were the best team in the league, and you miss out on going to the Super Bowl. The older Vikings fans will say, I saw them in 4 Super Bowls. They lost every goddamn one of them. I've only seen the Bears in 1 Super Bowl. They got their ass kicked. And the Vikings, year in, year out, in our lifetimes, the Vikings have been a better
The Vikings
franchise.
are always, just think to the Dennis Green era. They're always 8-9 wins. They get into the playoffs, but then they lose in the first round, and then they still have a shitty draft pick. That's the problem with them. They're just good enough to keep you interested, and they just dangle it out in front of you. but they can't ever win the big game, ever.
So you've got one side,
and then I have to put up with
I can
Iowa
argue
fans.
the Bears
See,
here. I can
you don't
argue
have
the
to-
Bears.
Iowa
I can
State
argue
fans-
Bears Iowa because listen, at least you get to see some fun offense. At least you've had Brock Purdy at Iowa State. You've had Seneca Wallace at Iowa State. You've had Randall Cunningham with the Vikings, Dante Culpepper. You've had
Those
Brett
were great
Favre.
years. God, those were fun years. Shipley says being a Cyclone and Bears fan is no picnic over here.
Well,
Got a few of them. See,
that's
the
another
problem
one.
is Iowa State fans have to put up with Iowa fans, though, so we have it way worse.
What do you mean? What do you say? Iowa State fans have to put up with Iowa fans?
Yeah, you guys don't have to put up with yourselves. Like you just have to.
But
deal
we have
with
to put
Iowa
up with
State.
Iowa State fans.
Oh, we're a classy bunch.
I think
you guys
it's closer
you guys
than
should
you
be.
think.
You guys should be honored. Like Shipley said, neither are picked. I don't think there's any, but like the Vikings know the Iowa State thing. Whatever, you can make arguments either way. It's significantly worse being a Vikings fan than a Bears fan because we've never won
I don't know.
anything. And like, listen, Iowa and Iowa State, like the deck is stacked against both of those programs. We're talking football here to ever win anything big. It just is. You're probably never going to win a national title at either place. Just a fact. I'm sorry to break that to you. The NFL is created to, it exists to have parity. Like the rules are for the NFL. They want you to be good. They want everybody to have a chance. In the history of the league, the Vikings have never been able to take care of that, ever.
But
and I would argue that they had the best team in '98.
What does the
they had
Bears
the best team in
winning the Super Bowl when I was in diapers, what does that do for me? Nothing. I wasn't old enough. I don't remember that shit.
Yeah, but at least you're not being compared to the Bills constantly.
Yeah, but I would also argue the Bills have had it way better than the Bears in my lifetime. I mean, look at all the Super Bowls they went to in the 90s, all the success they've had recently. The Bears have just been a middling product with horrible quarterback play year in and year out.
The one thing I love about being a Vikings fan, and I almost wore my Kene Nwangwu jersey today just to support my team in a tough time here, is I genuinely love going up to Minneapolis for like a Vikings weekend. It is a really like cool. I don't know. I've never been to Soldier Field, but like it seems much more like corporate and city up there in a weird way. Like the Vikings, it's like
really,
in my
but
opinion,
you think Soldier Field seems more corporate than
no,
going into a dome in Minneapolis, a brand new dome?
I guess my point is up there. This is a better way to put it. That wasn't very good. Thank you for calling me out on that. Up there, the Vikings are really all that matters. That's it. Like they don't. The Timberwolves, the Twins, the college sports don't even matter. When you go to Chicago, I mean, there's just so much going on, right?
Yeah,
like
but it's still a Bears town. I mean, yeah, they like the Bulls and they like the Blackhawks and the Cubs. and the White Sox.
The Blackhawks are bigger than the Bulls are.
Probably,
now.
yeah. Oh, it's in the last 20 years, absolutely.
The Cubs, the Cubs are bigger. I don't know. The Blackhawks are huge, though. Like people are passionate about that. Like I that's the one thing I love about the Vikings, though. I feel like it's got a college sports type feel to it because people are just obsessed with it. It's a really fun atmosphere. I say that I've never been to Soldier Field, so it's not a great.
Soldier Field's not a great atmosphere.
It doesn't come across as one on TV, but
they screw that whole thing up.
I want to talk. So this tweet went viral yesterday. Everybody is amped up about who's Fred? Who's this guy who got $5 million on this fall weddings tweet? Do you know him, or is he just some random dude?
No, this is just some random guy.
And he just went viral yesterday.
I cannot stand the no weddings during football season crowd anymore.
Clearly a guy who had a fall wedding.
Grow up. You're 26. So that reignited this. I think it's kind of a fake debate. Like, if someone close to you gets married in the fall, are you really not going to go to that wedding because of a football game? If you're not working it, I've had to go to plenty of fall weddings. In fact, I had a fall wedding. November 10th, 2007, I got married. And I'm a monstrous college football fan. There's nothing I love more than just sitting around on a Saturday watching college football. My wife chose the date. She wanted to do it then. Fine, whatever. Let's do it then. I watched Iowa beat Minnesota early in the day. We had the wedding in the evening. I missed a few games. And that was before you could watch games on your phone. I think this is a manufactured debate. What do you think?
I think that it's real in the mind of some people. But
I will say it would suck if I had to attend a wedding on a fall Saturday. I would not like that.
No, and I think that if you do, especially in our state, right? Just talking about Minnesota, in our state, the home games for Iowa and Iowa State are sacred for these people. They plan their tailgates all year. And in the South, it's even bigger. So I think that if you have the wedding, you have to be okay with some people not going if you schedule it on a home game for Iowa or Iowa State.
Sure.
I just think you need to be prepared for that but remember not last year, 2 years ago, we had just started the show and I had to go to North Carolina for a wedding on Cyhawk Week.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that?
Yes.
and I did.
Yeah, look.
It's my cousin and
it.
I wasn't going to miss it.
I would even argue that if it's a wedding you don't care that much about,
just send a card.
It might even be better to have it in the fall because then you have something to do when everyone else is mingling with these people you don't really like.
Oh, yeah.
You can be on your phone or over at the bar watching the TV of the games. It gives you a getaway free card.
Yeah, your wedding is kind of this. It's this sacred date that it's probably the only time in your life that people go to something and I have two takes on weddings. One where they're there for you and you only. Most people really don't care about your wedding. I truly believe this. They'll go and they're happy for you and they want you. But one, they know that 50% of marriages end in divorce. And two, it's they're there for the free beer and the free food and it's a party. They're there for the
Do you
social
really think
interaction.
people are attending weddings and they're like, yeah, there's a 50% chance this doesn't work?
I think in the back of their mind, a lot of times. I mean, it's just reality. I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer. I'm telling you the facts.
Is that still a fact? I know that was 10, 15 years ago.
Matt, look that up.
What's the new number for divorces?
Just most people they're there for you and they love you but most people your wedding is not that big of a deal to them. In your head, it's the biggest thing in the world. You've been planning for 2 years in some cases. Most people really don't care.
20% of marriages are likely to end in divorce within the first 5 years, is what I'm seeing.
What about overall? Because I actually gave a wedding speech once, and I gave that statistic.
What? No, you didn't.
Oh, I did.
Why would you do that?
It was my sister-in-law's. I mean, I was just trying to keep everybody level.
Jesus, Williams. Are they still married?
They're still married. Yeah, and
Okay.
I love my brother-in-law. He's a great dude. He's probably watching. It was pretty funny, though, because we were down in southern Iowa, a real conservative group of folks.
Brant says that it's only about 30% of weddings that end in divorce.
Matt
of
says
first marriages.
43% of all marriages end in divorce.
Brant brings up a good point. The stat gets skewed because of second and third marriages.
And then a lot of those times it's some of those people just are bad with commitment and stuff. I don't know. I was a groomsman and I gave my speech and I said, hey, I'm here with Alexa. There's a pretty good chance that I'll be having to do this again in a few years, 50% of it. But I hope that you guys can break the... And we got about 30% of the audience thought it was awesome. They're like, "Oh my god, this is amazing!"
So Forbes did a study. So 43% of first marriages fail. second and third marriages fail at a higher rate. 60% of second marriages fail. 73% of third marriages end in divorce.
So how many overall? If 43% of first marriages fail, what's the percentage overall?
You're right. It's probably close to 50.
It has to be over 50, I would think. Well, good news I think it's good news. We're all still married.
Yeah, we're still here.
I'm closing in on 20 years, brother.
What? How old were you when you got married?
22.
Jeez, you were really young.
I was right out of college.
Oh, real quick, can we show my dad's tweet about the Hawks?
Oh, your dad's back. We're still waiting for Cyclone Larry, but Cyclone Mike Williams is back.
He must have been listening to the show down at the Lake of the Ozarks or watching the show, and he heard Hassel talking about the Iowa scrimmage.
The old dog rubbing his ass on the carpet.
That's great. And so your dad's going to be down in South Florida with you for the weekend? Is that what your Steeple Ridge cheers to the weekend?
Yeah, cheers.
Don Hassel going to be down there?
Dad's on his way. He's in Atlanta right now. He's going to be heading down here. We're going to head out and have some whiskeys tonight, and have a good old weekend.
We got Elise's birthday party tonight. Looking forward to that. And then I got a big Cyclone Fanatic event over in Eastern Iowa tomorrow. Maddie, what are you doing this weekend?
Probably taking his kids to that goddamn fair again. How many times have you been there?
We went 3 times. Did you see?
Jesus
I got to sing.
Christ, man!
I got to sing on stage at the fair.
I did. Matt was on stage.
What do you mean
singing.
you got to?
No, it wasn't on
got
stage.
to?
No, the singer from Need to Breathe came out into the audience, and I got to sing with him.
That sounds horrible.
Nothing compares to the Iowa State Fair.
Did you shake your hips? Like, were you hip thrusting when you were up there?
I got a little nervous. A little starstruck.
Yeah, I mean, all those people. I would too. Hell yeah. All right. Get to work, Hassel. We appreciate y'all watching, listening, subscribing, liking.
Next week, next show, we start week 0.
Yeah, it is. Oh, I can't wait. You know what that means? It's betting season.
Ooh. Look at you. Trying to pressure us into this multi-$1,000 betting pool that Dave Z is putting on in Omaha.
I just don't understand why you would not just play with the sharps. I don't want to play with I want to play with the people who know. You know? Like, if we're going to do it, let's do it. We could do it together.
I don't know if I want to spend that much money.
We could do it together. We split it just like we were really good last year.
We were. But that's the thing. Like we hit like 65% of our NFL picks against the spread in the circle pool. Didn't win anything.
Yeah, but Dave Z and his friends are way less sharp than those people.
Probably.
I think together we could win the thing.
Put our minds together. You know,
Just
that might not be a bad idea.
Just saying.
We'll go in as 2 guys.
Deal. Giddy up. He's Chris Hassel. I am Chris Williams. Thanks to Matty Van Winkle for his phenomenal production today. We'll be back on Monday here on Iowa Everywhere.